last panel right now, panel number 6. We are going to talk about wrapped or native, navigating the BTC staking landscape. So I would like to invite our panelists on the stage, starting from Chan An, Alex, CTO, Kurt Uhler, Atlas Protocol co-founder, Jayden from BitSmiley co-founder, Isabella Yu from Cobo, head of BD, and Mirko is going to be a moderator.
All right, let's do this. Last panel for the day, and we have to make it quick, like 15 minutes. Yeah, just stay with us for a moment. We'll try to wrap this up quickly, but I think it's interesting to see the difference between native and wrapped Bitcoin staking, obviously. Yeah, so really looking forward to discuss this with you guys. We can start quick round of introductions, maybe everyone one sentence each, and then we kick it off.
Okay, hi everyone, my name is Chan An. I'm the CTO at Alex. We've been building on Bitcoin for the last 3 years. Yeah.
Hey everyone, Kurt Uhler, co-founder of Atlas Protocol. We're a Bitcoin liquid staking protocol built on Near.
Hey everyone, I'm Jayden, the co-founder of BitSmiley. So we are BTC-backed stablecoin. Have been building this project for almost a year.
Hi everyone, this is Isabella from Cobo, the head of BD, and we do custody solutions for protocols, funds, VCs, and recently working with Babylon for the staking API.
Awesome, yeah, so it's obviously such a buzzing environment right now around Bitcoin staking, and there are different approaches, and it would be great to hear maybe from each of you how you approach this on native BTC staking via Babylon, which is happening on the Bitcoin blockchain. And then there's the other side, which is basically just collateralized Bitcoin on the Ethereum blockchain, like wrapped BTC, and then Coinbase recently launched the CB BTC and so on, and then it's being staked, for example, in Symbiotic and so on. So how do you approach this from your side, kind of building in the Bitcoin ecosystem?
Yeah, I start first. So we have a largely native Bitcoin staking and wrapped Bitcoin staking. Now, the difference is one provides mostly non-custodial staking of native Bitcoin in the case of Babylon, whereas likes of Symbiotics and others provide wrapped Bitcoin. I think from the user perspective, the biggest difference is with a Babylon, you get a chance, an opportunity to be able to stake natively, and therefore, from that perspective, counterparty and smart contract risk is much less. But on the other hand, the unique design of Babylon, for example, means there is a hard slashing condition, which may not be implemented or be more flexible when it comes to a wrapped solution. So, depending on what your risk appetite with respect to what kind of risk, some users that we talk to prefer Babylon, and some users prefer actually Symbiotic and other route. So, yeah.
Which one do you think has more risk from the user perspective?
I think it all depends. I mean, it's kind of, one would think native is always better, but then lots of, you're talking about Bitcoin staking, and you're primarily speaking about Bitcoin holders. And actually, a lot of Bitcoin holders don't want to take smart contract risk. Yeah. So from that perspective, actually, the wrap solution is no-go. But at the same time, when we talk about the hard slashing condition, when people talk about Bitcoin security, they are talking about absolute security of Bitcoin. They don't want to lose it. And even the theoretical risk of being slashed is actually equally great risk. So that puts a lot of Bitcoin users on the fence. I don't know whether you guys have a different observation, but at least that's what I see.
I think from my perspective, there's really a place for both, right? There's a place for native Bitcoin staking, and there's a place for the wrap solutions. I think where we sit as a liquid staking protocol, we sort of see ourselves as a bridge, right? We have the utility across broader DeFi sectors of a wrap token, but we have the ability to employ native staking within our protocol. So I think we see the merits of both, and we think there's a place for both, and we want to capitalize on the fact that we can take the best of both worlds.
Yeah, so I absolutely agree with you. So from BitSmiley, we also support both. I mean, you can collateralize native BTC, some BTC blockchains, and mint stablecoin on a destination EVM chains, or you can collateralize your wrap or bridge BTCs, which are already in ERC20s and mint the stablecoin. So we support both. I don't think there's like a war between like wrap BTCs or native BTCs. I mean, instead of like fighting with each other, it's more like a complement of each other. For example, because at the end of this, you still need wrap BTC because it kind of has better liquidities, at least in the DeFi space, right? So just give you guys a very quick scenarios here. Like if you stake your native BTCs on Babylons, using the LRT protocols, probably are you going to get the liquid stake tokens, the LSD BTCs. Then you can, of course, generate more yields using all these LSD BTCs. For example, let's say if you deposit into a lending protocols, or you deposit on BitSmiley to mint the stablecoin, then you use the stablecoin for trading. But whatever it is, there's a risk of being liquidated, right? Since it's all the CDP models or over-collateralized mechanism. So once, let's say, liquidation triggers and the arbitrageurs come in, they take away your collaterals, which is the LSD BTCs. But if they want to sell their BTCs or to cash out, they have to swap to a wrap BTCs because wrap BTC has much better liquidities, at least at this point of time. Like, I don't think like any tier 1 CEX support or the LSD BTC yet. So, I mean, it's kind of like a complement for each other. But in terms of securities, I would say, of course, I mean, the native funds might be a little bit more secure because it's on Bitcoin. I mean, it's probably the most decentralized, most secure network, and you don't really have to trust custodians. Yeah. So I think that's my point.
I think from a retail perspective or from a yield point of view, native Bitcoin is quite at this, I would say, wouldn't say premature, but still at this early stage, because we are seeing the Babylon deposit phase 1, this phase 2. However, all the ABS and all the slashing mechanism are yet to happen. So we are seeing people going into it for a potential future yield and some kind of like points turning into token generation, which is I would say like speculative in that aspect. But I definitely agree that like wrap Bitcoin provides a more diversified avenue when it comes to DeFi usage, specifically within the EVM compatible ecosystems. So if you are going for like wrap BTC, whether it's for symbiosis or symbiotic, and whether it's for some other lending borrowing protocol or DEX LP for yield, it goes back to whether the question of whether you are a native Bitcoin maxi that I just need to hold native Bitcoin for Babylon yield, or I am like an ETH maxi that I want to capitalize on the maximal yield opportunities within Ethereum. So I think that's like a risk appetite that people might want to look into. And just one last thing I want to add is that a lot of yield protocols they're working with Babylon side, including Solve, Bedrock, Lorenzo, and some Pump BTC, PSTEC, a lot of LRT protocols. The thing is that what they are trying to do is something could be more than just Babylon. For example, with Mantos FBTC, then trying to give like an omni-chain yield opportunities for you, not just on Babylon side, but also some other yield sources, CD5 arbitrage. So I think it goes back to how you want to make use of your Bitcoin and how much APR you're looking for.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I guess all of you kind of see it from like both sides. It's important to like play both sides a little bit. It's still like undecided, but we talked about predictions from your guys' side. Like, what do you think? Like, what's going to be more dominant like over the next like let's say 1 or 2 years? Is it going to be like the native staking way? Or like the wrap BTC, and obviously there's now like Coinbase launched as well, so maybe that's going to change the game. What are your thoughts on that?
I think, important thing is, the key question is whether users will care whether it's wrapped or native. Now, native from the user experience should always be better, but then even then, it depends on how you define the term native. So from the user perspective, and even in the custodiality, for example, I don't think people are going to Babylon because it's non-custodial necessarily, because for example, Cobo is one of the biggest custodians for the Babylon staking. So what people look for is the security, safety, and convenience. So whichever platform provides that and add flexibility, and will eventually win out. Yeah.
And do you think Coinbase, for example, can compete with like the native staking way? Obviously, like there's a lot of like BTC and Cobo custody, and it's more secure to hold it like directly on the chain. But then like something like Coinbase, do you think it's going to change the game or?
I mean, I would just add that I think wrapped Bitcoin has a very big moat right now. So there's a big, I guess, margin for error, right, in terms of how much Bitcoin can eat away at that, right? So if you're asking for a prediction in the next, couple years, I think wrapped Bitcoin will still be very prominent, and versions of wrapped Bitcoin, like Coinbase Bitcoin, will start to gain prominence and eat away at that market share. And I think the same thing with native Bitcoin, that will also eat away at that market share, and it'll just, at the end of the day, like was already said, I think what it comes down to is whether or not the consumer or the user cares about that. And I think once they get educated on it, they will care, but that may take some time also to educate detail on exactly what the risk profiles of their Bitcoin is.
Okay, so I just want to add one more point here. I mean, apart from securities as perspective, I think we should also consider the cost of using native BTCs. I mean, if you look at the Babylon stakings, I mean, it's just crazy. It's kind of like a gas war again. Like the project spent like 12, 13 BTCs to stake like 200, 300 BTCs. I don't think like they are earning the yield back from their stakings. But of course, I mean, the projects, they raise money, they have funds, they can pay for it. But is it going to be sustainable? I mean, if there's no subsidies, I mean, the retail user has to pay the gas by himself. Is it going to be sustainable? I think that's a question here. Because, I mean, currently, whenever, like, I believe that for the second batch, when Babylon opens the second batch of staking, it's going to be another wars. Yeah, gas war. So I don't know. It's going to be sustainable for natives or BTCs to be used in the DeFi space. It could be a trap from the miners.
I think from an ecosystem perspective, when we look into Ethereum staking, for example, or Ethereum restaking, it's relatively more, they have a first mover advantage, and it's quite a bit developed in the sense that other than the restaking, they have the DA sequencer and I would say like the underlying infrastructure that is available. But when we look into Bitcoin side, I would say it still takes time to witness the growth and also the expansion. And from the demand side, whether there is enough Bitcoin layer 2 for Babylon to provide the security and the economic incentives for it to sustain, it's kind of a uncertainty. But as I remember, like Wrap BTC, they should have like a market cap currently, maybe like 9 billion. And I think Coinbase already caught up with already like 1B within the first 2 years. So we're seeing a growing trend for other alternatives given some kind of contention and also kind of like centralized management of the Wrap BTC thing. But when you think about like Wrap BTC or Coinbase BTC, everything goes back to a centralized custody to provide the services. So.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. Obviously, there's an artificial limit for the wrapped BTC that can even be staked if there's only a limited amount. Whereas in Bitcoin native, you have like, much higher, like whatever, like 1-something trillion market cap. Do you think like there will be a DeFi ecosystem emerging on Bitcoin itself, which could be kind of an alternative to like, just bridging it to Ethereum and then everything happens on Ethereum? But obviously like, yeah, if it's in a native way and then we just build a DeFi ecosystem on top of Bitcoin, that could obviously change the game. Do you think that's can be a reality in the next 2 years? Are you preparing for that as a protocols, or yeah?
I mean, if we say, oh, the BTC5 will stay on Ethereum, I mean, to be honest, we are wasting our time. What are we doing here? We're building on Bitcoin, you know. So I think whole premise is that DeFi will happen on Bitcoin. But the way we at Alex think about it is we are focusing more not on the technology side, but from the user experience, and think about why Bitcoin holders want to move to Bitcoin DeFi. And I think there's a simple case of a lot of people think Bitcoin isn't moving and then, you know, it's whatever, we need to unlock this liquidity. But that's a bit odd because Bitcoin is trading like, what, 30, 40 billion a day. So it's not that people aren't trading Bitcoin. People just aren't trading on the centralized exchange, only on centralized exchanges, not on the decentralized. But I think with more regulation coming in, that will change because the regulation will push people to look for more permissionless trading venues. And I think that wants and needs for the permissionless trading venue may be the driver for the BTC5 that we expect over the next 1 to 2 years. And I think for that reason, I think it's worth building on Bitcoin.
I'll just add, I don't know that it actually matters if it stays on Bitcoin because I think everything goes back to Bitcoin. So off what you were saying in your keynote, I think that the end goal of Bitcoin, basically backstopping every network, is reasonable and doable. And because of that, I actually don't think it matters if BTC5 stays on, you know, Bitcoin L1 or even Bitcoin L2s. I think it's actually important that it moves to every ecosystem, and I think it's the biggest asset, obviously, by market cap, and as a result, you know, any chain that ignores the ability to bring Bitcoin Fi onto their chain is really missing a huge opportunity, and so it should be every new chain, every existing chain's priority to get Bitcoin on their network.
Yeah, I kind of like agree with you guys. I mean, BTC5 isn't just about like building Bitcoin DeFi apps of Bitcoin blockchain. So I don't think that's what we define BTC5. I think BTC5 is more like you unlock or you unleash the liquidities of native Bitcoins into different ecosystem, into different blockchain. I think that's the true meaning for BTC5. Because on the BTC blockchain, there's just like too many limitations. I know there are like a lot of projects who are trying to build virtual machines on Bitcoins, but I mean, Bitcoin wasn't really designed to be an application layers. It's just a ledger. So yeah, I think like in terms of BTC5s or like where you be happening, I think it will be happening everywhere. Yeah.
I just want to add on to what Jayden mentioned. It's more about like how you can make Bitcoin being more kind of in terms of a wrap version or some other type of token standard to be compatible with other ecosystems. And I think this is what, be it retail or maybe institutional adoption, that they would care about. And I think one of the things are that when the users are trying to make use of their Bitcoin yield, they don't just care about of course, they care about the safety and security in the first place. And the second thing is, you know, I think a lot of, if they're native Bitcoin holders, they're rather conservative. Like maximum maybe 10%, it would be really good. If you give me like 50% of APR for a certain incentive or protocol, it sounds a little bit risky maybe to them. And I think finally it's more about bridging to different ecosystem or chains. We see a lot of BTC layer 2 being EVM compatible to bring on yield opportunities, bringing more native dApps from Ethereum to BTC holders, and I think that's a good thing to see.
Awesome. Yeah. I know we have to wrap up in a second, but I would love to like steam-in the Ethereum case obviously as well. But maybe as a last, just thought from all of you guys, just very quick. Like, do you think Bitcoin will move to proof of stake? Yes or no?
No.
Yeah. Obviously, you will never happen.
No. All right. Cool. Yeah, that's an interesting perspective. So very bullish on Bitcoin and the DeFi ecosystem, but
Thank you.